Shalom, giving all praise to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai Bashem Kakwadash, giving all praise to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai Bashem Kakwadash, and Shalom to the hopeful elect out there. I hope you can hear me clearly. Anyway, I'm going to entitle this video, The Hell Doctrine Revisited Again. And I was watching a couple of videos about an hour and a half ago. I was watching one that was put up by the elder Yashwamba out of Dallas, Texas. And he was going into the topic of hell. And then there was another video that was just put up by Apostle Orion Lob, and he was going into pretty much the same subject, but he was going into Baal worship, comparing the prophets of Yahweh to the prophets of Baal. He was going into the temple prostitutes. He mentioned Phineas putting a javelin through the back of an Israelite in a tent with a Midianite woman. That's in the book of Numbers. And they used to teach at One West that that proves you shouldn't be laying with a woman of other nations. Well, if that was the case, then Moses should have got a javelin in his back too, right? The reason why he got a javelin in his back, because he was sexually dealing with this woman in the name of her god, Baal Peor, Balaam, which goes into the whole subject of temple prostitutes. They have sex in the power and energy of their god, of their false god. So in order for you to have sex with them, you would have to praise that god too. So the man that was laying with that woman knew what he was doing. So it had nothing to do with the fact that she was of another nation. The only nation that we were not to deal with were the Canaanites. And even Esau was told not to deal with the Canaanites. And what is the first thing he did? He went and got a Canaanite woman and an Ishmaelite woman. So anyway, I'm going to show this video. This is Fair Use, Fair Use. This is IUIC events. This is Shout Out Tuesday, put up by Bishop Nathaniel, and it says that the topic, ironically, is the U.S. wants to bring back beheadings. I wonder if he got it from us, because we recently been talking about beheadings and the guillotine, right? We went into the article of dealing with, and this was maybe, we're talking what, week and a half, 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks ago, and we talked about it in the past. Apostle Gabar used to bring it up a lot, that if you don't take the C-hip, that you're going to be beheaded. So we've been speaking about that a lot, based upon a bunch of articles that came out on Donald J. Trump, saying he's going to, if he becomes president, which he plans to, he'll say, when I become president again, I'm going to bring back executions on a federal level, group executions, firing squads, and guillotines. Now you have people doing videos on a lot of Edomite prepper type people. They'll say, well, you can't do it because the Constitution says that would be a cruel and unusual punishment. Yeah, but you can do it under martial law. You can do it under martial law. Martial law means the Constitution is pushed to the side, either temporary or altogether. It's normally temporary. Temporary. The Constitution was pushed to the side, and the military law took its came in its place. If you go back to the history of Lincoln and the Civil War, what did the president do? He declared war against U.S. citizens, which is clearly unconstitutional. The Constitution been around for 90 some odd years. So what happened in that process? Why was Lincoln able to declare war on the states? Because he pushed the Constitution to the side. He suspended the Constitution and he replaced it with martial law. Martial law, you don't put people in jail, and you don't say, well, he's innocent until proven guilty. Due process, no real due process. If they think that you did something, they will punish you accordingly. And most of the time, you was put to death out in the field, or they would have maybe a quick tribunal with the top ranking officers, and they would say, "Yep, he did it. He's guilty of espionage." And they'll let the commander go. We're going to kill this guy, and they say, "Go ahead and kill him," because he couldn't say, "Well, I have a constitutional right." No, under martial law, you don't have a constitutional right. So if Trump does get back in office, which I hope he does, to get things rolling, because as we've been saying, we strongly believe that he's Nero coming back. And there was a point, what is it called? I went through it last week, 2 weeks ago. The I think it was the Neronian persecution. I think it was called. If you look it up, read about Nero, and that's when he was like killing Jake left and right. So that period of time was called, if I'm saying it right, Neronian persecution. Somebody can put it in the the comment section. So that's the only way you can do that. You can do a lot of things. You can lock people up. You can curfews. And when the C-19 came about, they had curfews throughout the country, which was clearly unconstitutional, but they forgot to tell you that. So really, you were pretty much under a sort of a form of a martial law. So anyway, so that's that. When they bring it in, not if they bring it in, but when they bring it in, if Trump, and I highly believe Trump is going to get back in there. And I believe we'll see in the coming months. We'll see if he runs on that ticket. I'm going to bring, executions back, guillotines, group, what do you call it? Executions, firing squads, because something's going to happen in this country that's going to be a chaotic place. So he's going to say, but we'll see what's going to happen. We don't tell you exactly what he's going to do. We watch and see what he's going to do. And then we look at the prophecies. So it might get so bad out here, like it did after the George Floyd incident. There was people just rioting, pretty much seemed like all over the country, just busting in windows, all kind of shit down in Manhattan. All kind of shit was going on. Then it got quelled because they ultimately charged the officers, and they had trial, and the main officer that did it, he's doing time. He's 30 years or something like that. So something could happen to spark them spirits off again, and they have to bring back order. So he's saying the only order, this is Trump speaking, the only order, this is a scenario I'm thinking in my head, is by just executing people. We don't have room in the prisons. We just got to execute them. We got to fast track them to the spirit world, so to speak. So, like I said, we've been going into it, and the fact that he's bringing in this topic, the U.S. wants to bring back beheadings. Now he changed it up a little bit, but I believe that he's been watching. Well, of course he watches our video. We watch his videos. That's a fact. Of course we watch your videos. We watch, especially you, and you watch our videos. You even said that. You told me in a call with the phone, yeah, I watch all your videos. That was many years ago. So I'm just gonna let you listen, and then I'm gonna go into my topic. So let's see what happens. I hope you can hear this clearly. This is coming from his page, so it should be pretty much clear. But if it's not, you can listen from 55 minutes in, 55 minutes and 9 seconds in, to about maybe 50. I'll stop at about 57 minutes in. So and then he says what caught my eye. He goes into he goes into Revelation 20 and 4. And he says that, well, it's sin. Whether it was political or religious, it's sin. The mark is sin. But then he goes into, he says, I'm going to cover this more in depth on the Saturday class. So it behooves you to watch the Saturday class. And he's clearly wrong when he teaches that the lake of fire is some eternal hell. It's clearly, when you measure that up to the scriptures, to all the scriptures, it doesn't make any sense at all. Because if that's the case, then where are we going to get our slaves from? Doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense at all. And I don't know if he's been teaching that and we just caught it, or this is some new doctrine, this new doctrine within the doctrine. Like with the new moon being the full moon. I remember when he came out with it. It was him. It wasn't the leadership. It wasn't the people of that gathering. It was him. I remember the class. He said, I did the research in the scriptures, and I remember him saying, I also went into Esau's documentations to prove this. And then we were the ones that gave him pushback and said, nah, that's bullshit. The new moon is not the full moon. So I'm gonna let you listen, then I'm gonna let's see how long I go with this video. I don't know how long this is gonna be, but let's listen.
Revelation chapter 20. And let's read verse 4. As the kingdom is about to come. Watch this, verse 4. And I saw thrones, and they that sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Jesus, and for the word of God, and which had not worshipped the beast, meaning that's the white man, America, neither his image.
Well, it's the system. It's the political and military system, which is NATO and the EU. The average so-called white man, Edomite that you see, they don't know what's going on. And yet servants to this system anyway. So, it's just like saying all Romans are the beast. No, the beast is the power of the Caesar and its armies. So it's really the hierarchy of these elite Edomites.
This white image of Jesus, not beast, meaning that's the white man, America, neither his image, his white image of Jesus.
So his white image of Jesus is not the image, because they're not going to force people to kiss the image of Jesus or look at, Caesar Borgia. They're not even talk. They don't even do movies on Caesar, so-called Jesus. Christmas night, they will do some special on Jesus, or especially the Eve before Easter. There used to be a lot of movies that used to come out, big blockbuster Hollywood movies with the top actors, playing so-called Jesus. They don't play that no more. They don't push that no more, because too many Jakes. See, you got the comedic community that said, nah, the Jesus ain't a white man. He would have to be black. A lot of them say, well, he was Middle Eastern. A lot of these simple Jakes, they'll say he's Middle Eastern. Well, guess what? You had black people living in the Middle East. There was a press conference, I believe it was in Dubai. You had the Jake Paul versus Tommy Fury fight, and they had a press conference, and they had them Arabs around them, and them motherfuckers looked blacker. They was as dark or darker than Apostle Gabar, and they had woolly hair, but they had the Arab Sikh, outfits on. I remember there was one team in the World Cup. This was years ago. I believe it was Saudi Arabia, if I'm not mistaken, but it was an Arab team, and all the soccer players on that Arab team, they were all black with woolly hair. So if you're going to say, well, he was Middle Eastern, well, guess what? Middle Eastern people are dark-skinned people, light to dark skin. Now, coming back to the image is not a picture of Caesar Borgia. They ain't pushing the picture of Caesar Borgia no more. There's a lot of Edomites in the power structure that are straight up atheists. They don't. So you think they're gonna bow down to a picture of Caesar Borgia? Look, kiss the picture of Caesar, or I'm gonna chop your damn head off. The image is talking about the system.
Neither had received his mark upon their foreheads. We rejected their sin in all forms. Whether it's politics or religion, we reject it. We're in their hands. We don't support it. And they lived and reigned with Christ 1,000 years.
I'm just bringing it back. So he got to the part with the mark and he said, it's sin. I want a timetable. I hope he goes into it this Saturday of sin. Does it talk about the past sins? What about the sin before the beast came on the scene? The rebirth of the beast came about when Christopher Columbus came to the New World. So were we as people, Israelites, sinning? We got damn right we're sinning. What the hell we need a beast to make us sin? Hey, I'm the beast. You got to sin. You got to eat pork. Doesn't make sense. Like I always use this term. Use your head for something other than the hat rack. You got to think, man. We encourage all the individuals, the brothers, and even the sisters, when they listen to us teach and we're going through the scriptures, don't just take it for our word. Do the research yourself. Let's listen to that again.
Beheaded for the witness of Jesus and for the word of God, and which had not worshipped the beast, meaning that's the white man, America, neither his image, his right image of Jesus, neither had received his mark upon their foreheads. We rejected their sin in all forms, whether it's politics or religion. We rejected it. We're in their hands.
So we rejected their sin, but not our sin. We sin, but the Most I ain't talking about that. That's all right. Y'all can sin. That's Israelite sin. We talking about the white man's sin. That's a different breed of sin. It doesn't make sense. How can a beast make you sin? And I hope he covers the fact that are we under the beast system right now? And are people walking around with the MARK right now? Please address that. And I urge all of you in GMS to watch the video that he's going to do, and wait till the park. Hopefully he doesn't take 2 hours or an hour to go into it. So you got to search for it, but see what he says, and he's clearly wrong. And this whole thing, and I didn't get up, like I said, I don't get up and say, well, let me get on Bishop Nate now, or let me get on the Sakari, or let me get on Wi-Fi. You notice we ain't mentioned nothing about Wi-Fi, right? Because that spirit then gone and left. We put out what we had to put out, and there's a whole moving to a whole different spirit. We don't know what spirit the Most High is going to give us next week. That's why we constantly maintain what the MRAK is. And it hasn't come to pass fully. It has come to pass on the, like in Sweden, it's big over there in Sweden. But the scriptures speak about the whole planet. So let's listen more, some more.
We don't support it. And they lived and reigned with Christ 1,000 years. Y'all see it? The righteous, the elect, that make it through this coming true.
That's our word, the elect. We use that word. That's our word. That's the word that we use. It's not our word, but we use that word quite a bit, the elect, because we're not here to go to every Matthew's 10, I believe it's the 25th verse. It speaks about going throughout all the cities until I come. You will not be able to go throughout every city until I come. Meaning back then, the disciples didn't teach all the Israelites. Paul taught a lot of them, the Gentiles. He was the apostle of the Gentiles, but they didn't teach all. They didn't come into contact with all the Israelites. I'm talking about even in the Middle East and Europe, let alone the Israelites on the other side of the world. Even at this time now, you have, Bishop Nate, which is not bad. They're going to other places. They're going to Africa and so forth. But nothing's panning out there. Check out their videos. And I'm not knocking them, but the Most High, the salvation part is to be what? What does it mean to be saved? Not like the Christians say, I'm saved in the blood of Jesus. I've been saved. I'm no longer this. I'm no longer thief. I'm no longer I'm no longer adulterer. I am saved. No, the salvation part is the being saved from this coming destruction. So are the people in Nigeria going to be destroyed? No, they're not going to be destroyed. They're going to see the smoke. They're going to be part of the people that's going to be afar off in Revelation, the 18th chapter. So we don't have to be urgent. Oh, we got to give it to the Nigerians, or we got to give it to these people and those Israelites over there. There's no way you're going to hit every Israelite. So now the ones that you don't hit with this truth, and all they have is Christianity, are they going to go to hell and burn in hell forever? Well, let's listen to a little bit more.
Relationship reign with Christ. That's the 144.
Actually, it's more than 144. It's 144, and the great multitude wearing white with palms in their hands. That's what John saw. He didn't just see the 144,000. That's a small number. Hell, I can get 144,000 people in my house. Just joking, obviously. But let's go to that. I will say that there's going to be millions of Israelites which are part of the elect. The elect are not the 144,000. The elect is more than just 144,000. Let's go to that. Let me go right to the point. And after these things, I saw an angel standing on the four corners of the earth, holding. Now you got clowns teaching that. See, that proves the earth is flat. There's four corners. No, four corners represent north, south, east, and west, holding the four winds of the earth, the winds that blow north, west, east, and south. Anytime you see a weatherman, they always they're going to mention north. What is it? The northwester, right? North and west, coming from the east, coming from the south, and sweeping up. And then you got a northeast. It says that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any trees. Wind blows on trees and grass and earth and sea all the damn time. So that wind is not talking about, it's not talking about, the air. It's talking about missiles. And I saw another angel ascending from the east. It goes the east, having the seal of the living power. And he cried with a loud voice, um, to the four angels to whom it was given to hurt the earth, because wind doesn't hurt earth. Uh, to 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 whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea, saying, hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our power in their forehead. Who are the servants that's going to be sealed? It starts with the 144,000. But it also represents these people too, the great multitude. Because it says, 14th verse, and made them white in the blood of the Lamb. Who became purified by the blood of the Lamb? A multitude from the tribulation, which is another word is Jacob's trouble. So it's more than just the 144,000, which he'll agree. He'll agree. So let's listen on.
But the rest of the dead live not again until the 1,000 years were finished. This is the first resurrection. What does that mean? Those rebellious Israelites that we were reading about, 7, verse 18, Matthew 10, those wicked Israelites will not live again until the 1,000 years. 1,000-year reign with the righteous Israelites shall be over. Then they shall come back. You jump down to verse 11. I'm not reading on today's lesson. That's when they come back in.
The Israelites that die, they're going to come back through us within the 1,000 years. Now it's spoken that way. If you read it, if you broke it down the way it's written, that's what it seems like. It's speaking about our people coming back, because it says this. Let me go to Matthew. I spoke about it the other day. Matthew 19. Then answered Peter and said unto them, behold, we have forsaken all and followed thee. What shall we have therefore? The we is talking about the 12, right? Not talking about Peter's wife. It's not talking about Peter's children. It's not talking about any of the disciples' wives or their children. It says, and Yahushua said unto them, verily I say unto you, that ye which have followed me in the regeneration, and when you come back, when the Son of Man shall sit in the throne of his glory, which is a kingdom, ye also shall sit upon 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel. So that's going to be within the 1,000-year reign. But we're going to reign forever under the orders of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. And everyone that have forsaken houses or brethren, right? Anybody that forsaken houses or brethren or sisters or father or mother or wife or children or lands for my name's sake shall receive an 100-fold and shall inherit everlasting life. What does it mean you receive 100-fold? You're going to receive your family back. A lot of them may die, but you're going to receive them back. It says you're going to see your father again, you're going to see your sister again, you're going to see your mother again, you're going to see your wife again, you're going to see your children again. And some of your children and maybe even your wife may make it with you. You're going to have relatives that's not going to make it. I know for a fact none of my brothers and sisters ain't going to make it. They ain't going to make it. All right? So how the hell are these people that disbelieve are going to burn in hell? That would mean that Nathaniel's son, his oldest son said he was disenchanted by it. He said, I don't want to be in this no more. I want to go my own way, which I'm not, bringing out any secret. That's what his wife said publicly on a video. She said that publicly on a video. She said, because this one older woman said, well, my son, this, you gonna say my son gonna be destroyed? And Bishop Nathaniel's wife said, look, I had my oldest son, he fell out the truth. So they held with him. That's what she said. That's what she said. But is he gonna burn in hell forever? No. He's gonna come back because he's an Israelite. But many that are first shall be last, and the last shall be first. Where was I going to go? I was thinking about another precept, came to my mind, and it just left that quick. Bear me for a minute. See, that's how the Spirit is. What was I going to say? Oh, it just came back. Romans 11 and 26. Here you are in the kingdom, enjoying yourself. You know that your mother's burning in hell for, 1,000 years go by and she's burning. You know, 1,000 years go by and she's still burning. 1,000,000 years go by and she's still burning. 1,000,000,000 years go by and she's still burning. You ever mistakenly put your hand on a stove, on like a pan, and it's hot, and you pull your hand back, and then you get a blister? Well, you're gonna get a blister all over your body forever. That shows you that the Most High is not merciful, and there's plenty of scriptures where it shows the mercy of the Most High. He's not even gonna do that to Esau. And this is why we're coming against this. I'll start from the 25th verse. For I would not, brethren, that ye should be ignorant of this mystery, lest ye be wise in your own conceits, like your own thinking, your way. That blindness in part is happened to Israel until the fullness of the Gentiles be come in. The fullness of the Gentiles be come in. It's talking about when all the Israelite Gentiles come into this thing. Now, the rest of them that don't make it, they'll come back in the kingdom. And so did all the Gentiles come in? No. And so all Israel shall be saved, as it is written, there shall come out of Zion the deliverer, and shall turn away ungodliness from Jacob. So they haven't turned away ungodliness from the south. It says, and shall turn, the deliverer shall turn away ungodliness from Jacob. Jacob is ultimately going to be delivered. Isaiah 14 and 1 and 2. For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel and set them in their own land. That's talking about your father, your mother. Your father dies in this thing. He takes the charagma, he dies. Your mother takes the charagma, he dies. Maybe one of your sons stay with you. The rest of your sons and your daughters, they want to go in the world. They're going to die. But guess what? They're going to come back 100-fold. So that nonsense about Israelites going into captivity is dead wrong. Because if that's the case, are these other nations going into hell because they don't keep the laws? That means we ain't going to have no slaves, like I said before. It said the wicked, let me put the word hell. It's either shall or, I believe it shall be turned into hell. But let's see if it comes up this way. I believe it came up. Yep. The wicked shall be turned into hell, and all the nations that forgot God. So if we're equating hell with the lake of fire, because it does say death and hell shall be what? Cast into the lake of fire. So if you're saying, well, it's the grave, well, that grave is going to be cast into the lake of fire, which is everlasting torment according to the Roman Catholic doctrine. The wicked are who? They're the Edomites. Then you got the other nations, sons of the Most High, sons of men and sons of the wicked. It said the wicked, meaning all of them, shall be turned into hell, and all the nations that forget the Most High. None of these nations remember the Most High. So we're going to teach them the laws. But wait a minute, they all sinned. They didn't acknowledge the Most High. Ain't no a Pakistani calling on the name of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. So if the wicked of our people going to slavery, into hellfire, the lake of fire forever, then we ain't gonna have no slaves. This is gonna be 144,000 Israelite men looking at each other. What we gonna do today, boss? Use your head for something other than a hat rack. Learn how to think. Be more like the church of Berea, which was more noble than the church of Thessalonica. Okay, so now this is what I'm gonna do. You know what I'm gonna do? Let me do this. Let's listen to a little bit more of this.
Okay. Everybody understands that. So with that, let's actually, you know what I want to do? Let's just read it. Let's read it when they come back, when the wicked Israelites come back. Verse 11. And I saw a great white throne, and him that sat on it. From whose face the earth and the heaven fled away, and there was found no place for them. Meaning, when the Father comes, all creation shuts down. Nobody got nothing to say. Verse 12. And I saw the dead, small and great, stand before God. So every soul that ever lived upon the earth shall come and stand before the Most High. And the books were open. There's books on every last one of us. And another book was open, which is...
So I guess they got bookshelves in heaven. They got librarians in heaven, right? They got paper. They got termites in heaven. The books is symbolic for records. The Most High is not going to bring out, give me that book. They're going to open up that old book, and they're going to open it up, and it's going to turn to dust. There ain't no books in heaven. That's parabolic, man. There's many things that John saw in the heavens that was given to him for his eyes to see. So he can understand heaven. They call it the liturgy. The liturgy. Look that up. There's no eating in heaven. There's no drinking in heaven. The spiritual heaven is an invisible place. It's the fourth dimension. Because if it was up there, then Esau would have went up to heaven, like Captain Kirk did. He met the Most High. He was a white man. All right, but now in that movie, that particular Star Trek movie, he actually met the Most High. It was a so-called white man with white hair, kind of woolly-ish, wasn't exactly straight, but it was white hair with a white beard. So they read the scriptures. They knew that the Most High got white. You know, they read Daniel 7 and 9. But instead of them saying it's woolly, they said, well, let's make it kind of like curly. Esau fucking knows, man. And heaven is not up. Heaven is all around us. It's in the fourth dimension. So I'm not gonna let you hear the rest of it, but he goes into the 20th verse, the lake of fire. Matter of fact, let me see. Matter of fact, let me let you, because he's gonna mention that he's gonna speak on it Saturday.
And the dead were judged out of those things which were written in the books, according to their works. Everyone will be judged according to God's law, whether you obeyed or whether you did not. And the sea gave up the dead which were in it. So you brothers and sisters that died in the sea, you're going to be brought back up.
That's symbolic. That's parabolic. This is, like I said, this is John seeing things that represent something. He saw an actual beast with a woman's on that beast. He didn't see America and said, oh, that's a beautiful woman. He saw an actual woman sitting on a scarlet colored beast. Daniel saw the same thing. But what did it represent? We break it down to mean that the woman that sits on the scarlet colored beast is the United States, and the beast, the red beast with 7 heads and 7 heads, 10 horns and 7 crowns upon his head. You ain't gonna have no beast walking around. Oh, that's the beast in Revelation. No, that's talking about Esau. That's talking about when you see somebody that's a bodybuilder, right? He got big muscles. This dude is a beast. You say Michael Jordan, he's a beast. LeBron James, he's a beast. What's this guy? Kobe Bryant, he's a beast. Mike Tyson, he's a beast. They ain't beasts. It's just symbolic. So what John saw in the Isle of Patmos didn't mean literally that's going to happen. It's the same thing that Daniel saw. Daniel didn't see the Most High. He saw an image of the Most High. He saw the likeness of the Most High in a vision. Let's listen to a little bit more.
And death and hell delivered up the dead which were in death. And they were judged every man according. And death and hell were cast into the lake of fire. This is the second death. And whosoever was not found written in the book of life was cast into the lake.
See, that's dramatics right there. You know? And you feel pain because you have nerves. When you're dead, you don't feel anything. And I'm going to show you something. Let me come back.
And they were judged every man according. And death and hell were cast into the lake of fire.
How can death be cast in the lake of fire? And hell, this word hell is a Greek word, Hades or Hades. Now I'm going to look up this word death. And I'm going to look up the word hell. Death is a verb. It's not a noun. It's a verb. Let's find out. Let's look up the word. Let me bring this over here. Let's look up the word death. Bear with me for a minute. Okay, let's look up the word death. Death, meaning. Meaning. Okay, it's a noun. It's a noun. So it's a thing. Death, the action or fact of dying or being killed, the end of life of a person or organism. What is the real meaning of death? The end of life. This is actually the separation between the body and the spirit. What is death in the Bible? What happened on the day Adam and Eve sinned? They came under the judgment and the condemnation of the Most High. And that is what death is in the Bible. So death is a noun. It's a thing. just like you got a cold, right? You got a cold, you get sick, you got the flu. You can't throw the flu in hell. So let me come over here. Okay, Revelation 11. I mean 12, 20. And death and hell, death is a noun, and hell were cast into the lake of fire. This is the second death. So that means all the nations are going into hell. Alexander the Greek is not going into slavery. Nero's not going to slavery. Nimrod not going to slavery. Nebuchadnezzar's not going into slavery. The Egyptian pharaohs are not going into slavery. They're just going to burn in hell. So where are we going to get the slave from? And death. Let's look up the word death. This is basic stuff. We shouldn't be going through this, man. Thanatos, the death of the body, the separation, whether natural or violent, of the soul and the body, by which the life on earth is ended. And then you cannot kill the soul. You cannot kill the spirit. It goes before the Father, then you're judged. And when your judgment comes after death, when you come back on the earth again, you're going to come back crippled, or you're going to come back messed up. We used to say that. You see a person that was deformed, he's all crippled up, and we say, well, I wonder what he did in his past life. Oh, that and St. John 9, the blind son. The disciples said, what did he do? Did his parents sin, or did he sin? And the Lord said, neither of them sinned, meaning they sinned, but he wasn't born blind because he sinned or his parents sinned in another life. He was born blind, so I can come and heal him of his blindness. So did he sleep for 1,000 years? No, he came back. Here it goes. With the implied, I'm glad they put that in there. With the implied idea of future misery in hell, the power of death. Somebody look up the word implied. So let's go to hell. This is basic stuff, man. We shouldn't have to go. We shouldn't be doing no video on another Israelite group teaching about hell. This is some Roman Catholic. Really, it goes before the Romans. This goes as far back as the Babylonians. It's in the Talmud. The small hats taught this. Hades or Hades, name Hades or Pluto, the god, mythical god of the lower regions. Orcos, Orcos is the god of the underworld, the devil to the sons of Japhet. Look it up. The netherworld, the realm of the dead, later use of this word, the grave, death and hell. Hell means the grave, death means the grave. Now we apply it to mean a condition. David said hell was compassed about me, something to that effect. He said it a bunch of times. He said it a couple of times in the Psalms, and he said it in, I believe it was 2 Samuel, which was later written in the Psalms. What do you mean by that? Meaning he was close to death at certain times in war. He was close to death. So there's no such thing as no burning in hell forever, because you wouldn't have no slaves. It'd just be the 144,000, which is the elect, and that's it. No woman, just 144,000 men looking at each other. Let's look up at the sun. Let's look up. Oh, that's a cloud. Oh, what we gonna do now? We ain't got no kids. Now you know what I'm gonna do? Let me change gears. I'm going a little long, but if y'all want to move along, y'all can move along. Give a hoot. But I urge you to watch the video that he does this Saturday. In case I'm gonna watch most. I'm not gonna watch the whole thing unless it's interesting. Let me see here. Let me. Yeah, you got a bad liver. You use bile salt, and it brings it. That's bile salt. If you ever went to the bathroom, did number two, and your number two came out white, that means you got liver cancer, but you can reverse it with bile salt, according to this video. Let me see. All right, let me do this. So we go into a lot of herbs and healing remedies, so we don't have to go to the doctor. Like 2 weeks ago, I had the sniffles. I was sneezing. It was Saturday night after class, after camp, and then all day Sunday, and then Monday it was gone. But I was using all kind of herbs and whatnot. Okay. Okay, what I did was I put these. Did I get all of them? I know I put 3 of them up there. Three out, 3 out, 3 out. Okay, let's do this. Let's do this. Ancient origins. Through the 12 chambers of hell, the afterlife in ancient Egypt. I'm not going to go into it. Let me read some of it. So the Egyptians taught that, like, if you ain't right, you're gonna go to hell, and that's what put fear in the heart to the people. Death, the ancient Egyptians believed, was not the end of our struggles. They believed in like this is it's a actually this is a New Orleans. People are bugged out. They believed in afterlife, and that the worthy would go on to paradise, but their dead didn't simply pass over to the other side. If they wanted eternal life, they would have to fight for it. That's the Egyptian. So they taught that. That see, the Christianity got the hell doctrine from these from Egypt, from Greece, from the Babylonians, from the small hats of Talmud. Let me come back over here. Let me come over here. The concept of hell in ancient Babylon, ancient Mesopotamia. This bleak domain was known as Ker and was believed to be ruled by the goddess Ereshkigal, All souls went to the same afterlife, and a person's actions during life had no effect on how the person would be treated in the world to come. So they taught about an afterlife. Where did the idea of hell come from? The notion of hell predates Christianity by thousands of years. So this is what these Roman Catholics and these other churches that came out of the Roman Catholic Church, the Reformed Church, and all that. They kept the hell thing. The vocab teaches that you're going to burn in hell. Christianity, it predates Christianity by thousands of years. So obviously, Christianity adopted it from these pagan beliefs. Egyptians and sources of Jewish mysticism, such as the Kabbalah. The Kabbalah mentions 7 different divisions of hell. So there's levels to hell, including Gehenna, which is a place where it was a garbage dump. They threw dead animals and different garbage in there, and they would burn it. And Sha'al, which is Hebrew for the grave of the pit, meaning Hades in Greek, or underworld, is the most, like I said, even the Japhets had a concept of hell, heaven and hell. And they said that the ruler of hell was a beast by the name of Orcus. And 7 divisions of heaven. Tartus, that was another place. Did Babylonians believe in heaven? What did the Babylonians believe in? What was the ancient Babylonians known for? When was hell first mentioned? What is the Hebrew word for hell? Let's look that up. It's Sha'al, which means it means the pit, like a grave. They put you 6 feet under. You just went to hell. Yes, but your soul is going to burn in hell forever. No, that's that Babylonian BS. And the Hebrew Bible is a place of still darkness, which life after death. No, it just means the grave. When they put Jake in the sepulcher, that was hell. Nobody was punished and went into hell. Job says the wicked and the righteous go to the same place. It said, when was hell first mentioned? That was 725 AD. So it was Jake that came up with this. Fear the people, scared the people. So prior to that, there was no concept of hell. It says the modern English word hell is derived from, well, it's a word. Old English hell. Hell first attested around 725 AD to refer to a netherworld of the dead reaching into the Anglo-Saxon pagan period. So this went from century to, people to people, century to century. Oh, wait a minute. Did the Lord burn for 3 days, engulfed in flame for 3 days? Really, 3 days, a full 3 days. The traditional language of the Apostles' Creed affirms that Jesus descended into hell. The contemporary book of Common Prayer says that Jesus descended to the dead. Right, he was dead for 3 days and 3 nights. He rose on the 4th day. Is hell a place of, of torment? Hell, fire, torment. Those preachers, man, they want to get more money out their followers. You're gonna burn in hell. It's a fear tactic. Hellfire torment is a pagan. Hellfire torment is a pagan idea. There's when you go to the New Testament. Let's not deal with the New Testament. Let's deal with the Old Testament. Where in the Old Testament does it describe the experience of hell? Nowhere in the Old Testament. There's only one place in the New Testament where it describes hell, and that's the parable of the rich man and Lazarus. And they didn't go to no actual hell. It was the rich man wasn't just any old man. It was a part of a story. Nazareth was just a name of an Israelite. So Lazarus would be us, is symbolic for us, and the rich man is symbolic for the elite of this world, Esau. So what's going to happen? We're on the bottom, but they're going to be on the bottom, and we're going to be on the top. Lazarus being in Abraham's bosom is symbolic for Abraham represents the kingdom of heaven. It was only a parable, man. Hellfire torment is a pagan idea in ancient Babylon. Didn't I say that? And Assyrians in ancient Babylonia and Assyrian beliefs, the netherworld is pictured as a place full of horrors and is presided over by gods and demons of great strength and fierceness. So you get bullied by demons. The religion of Babylonia and Assyria, Boston, 1898. So this was a guy, Maurice Jestro. He wrote a book dealing with hell. And he said the origins goes as far back as the Babylonians and the Assyrians. Let's read a little bit more. The idea of suffering after death is found among the pagan religious teachings. See, we didn't teach that bullshit, man. Of ancient peoples in Babylonia and Egypt. So what do you think the Roman Catholics got it from? They got it from the Babylonians, they got it from the Egyptians, they got it from the Greeks. The Greek myth is that there's a 3-headed dog down there in hell. You have the RCC is set up is basically Egyptian and Babylonian worship. You have the so-called Vicar of Christ. He has this headdress on his head, which looks like a fish with its mouth wide open, and that's what it's supposed to be. It's symbolic for a fish, which is Dagon. Dagon is Hebrew for fish. So they worship a god. The Canaanites worship a god, and with Philistines as well. They worship a god called Dagon, which is a god of the fish. So the RCC is not the Christmas, Easter, all that is pagan stuff. So they might as well throw hell up in there. The RCC teaches that you're gonna burn in hell. You encounter one of them, you say, "Do you know that's pagan? That's a pagan pagan belief." I said the ancient Romans. I'm sorry. The idea of suffering after death is found among the pagan religious teachings of ancient people in Babylon and Egypt. They portray the other world is featuring pits of fire for the damned. So they made it up to scare people, to scare non-intelligent people with low IQs. The Book of the Dead. That's another book. The ancient Roman emperors kept power over didn't I just say that? The ignorant. The ancient Roman emperors kept power over the ignorant masses by creating myths of the afterlife to keep them locked up in fear. It's a fear tactic. It's a fear tactic. So I hope that Bishop Nate is not using it as a rule. If you don't come into the IUIC, because they even say if you go to another camp, you're still gonna go to hell. If you go to GMS, you're gonna go to hell. If you go to ISUPK, you're gonna go to hell. If you go to any of them groups, you're gonna go to hell. It says, let me read that again. The ancient Roman emperors kept power over the ignorant masses by creating myths of the afterlife to keep them locked up in fear. The C-19 was a thing to keep people locked up in fear, and it worked too. I don't know the percentage of people that had fear for it. Let's say it was 80%. What did they come to find out? There was a certain percentage that said this is all bullshit. We ain't going for that shit. That's why when you made videos on it, they would strike your video because you got to keep the fear going. We let them videos play, people are going to start thinking, you know what? They make sense. Let me read that again. The ancient Roman emperors kept power over the ignorant masses by creating myths of the afterlife, which is hell, to keep them locked up in fear. So the emperors of Rome were godlike figures. Like when you saw the emperor, you actually saw God, or you actually saw a representative of God. Source, What the Hell is Hell by Gary M. Mirot. What the hell is hell? Let me try something. What the hell is hell? I want to go to YouTube, see if it comes up. It might be in a PDF form, but let's try this. Okay, let me see if it comes up. What the hell is hell? Okay, sometimes you can listen to the whole book. Okay, so there's videos on it. Is hell real? Hades Hell Show, Jesus teaching on hell. Let me just click on this here. Wait a minute. Let me just click on this. Okay, so you know what I'm gonna do? So he's a Christian. So he's pretty much saying what the hell is hell? And he was the one in his book that I read about the Romans, the Caesars of Rome used that as a fear tactic. So you know what I'm gonna do? Let me do this. Okay, the legend of hell. I got to go into this. I don't know if he's against it. I gotta do some study on this guy. Got to do some study on this guy. Let me do it this way. Bear with me for a minute. Oh, shit, wait a minute. Let me do it this way. Okay, so I believe this guy died recently. Okay, they ain't give me too much. Let me try this. Honest questions and answers about hell. And this is the guy, Gary M. Rolt. Oh, I said this early in the video. Hell is not an Old Testament doctrine. Right. It doesn't describe, you come across the word hell in the Old Testament, but it doesn't describe hell, that you're going to burn forever. It doesn't say you're going to burn in fire forever. Popular myth, popular myth. Hell is an established biblical doctrine that is in the Bible from start to finish. This is not true. 2/3 of the Bible, the Old Testament, does not mention hell at all. Sha'al, the Old Testament word that is sometimes translated as hell, only means grave. Only means grave by definition, and it is where everyone in the Old Testament went when they died, good or evil, Jew or Gentile. Thus, the Old Testament does not contain the concept of hell. This is pretty interesting. I'm gonna put this in my favorites. Come on now. There we go. If hell is real, why are its roots in paganism rather than the Bible? Like I said, the only time it describes hellfire is in the book of Luke with the parable of the rich man and Lazarus. And like in that parable, to show there was a parable, here you got the rich man burning in hellfire, and he asked for just a little sip of water to quench. If you're engulfed in flames, a gallon of water ain't gonna help you. So that shows you, man, that that's why we beating the hell out of these damn Christians. That's why Jake said that are part of Christianity are leaving left and right, because when we go into the scriptures, we know the scriptures more than Christians. That's why you got to send guys that went to a seminary schools to come against us. Anyway, I think I said enough. I was going to go into a bunch of precepts on hell, but I don't think I need to. Anyway, with that, I'm going to say shalom.